Hey everybody, and welcome to my only reason to not commit suicide. That's right, it's the One Piece Virgin Book Club podcast. 18 volumes in, 122 to go. That's my prediction, folks. We're covering chapters 156 through 166 of One Piece. I am Simeon D. Mumkey D. Jones, joined as always by...
The leader of the rebels, and I ain't talking about a man getting arrested at McDonald's. It's your boy, the G Fuel sponsor.
You are quitting
on the way.
The measly crew to become a rebel. Is that what you're saying? While drinking a delicious Sonic-flavored beverage.
Well, you know, now that I'm a reformed person who needs to be on my best behavior for the measly crew, I'm really more on top of everything now. But once upon a time, I was somebody who really liked to play with the flames, and I ain't talking about somebody we meet this volume of, but I was getting a little close to that fire sometimes.
Okay, we are going to jump into what's top of mind, but we only have one new member of the crew, so let's get that done with. We don't have 8 of them to get through and spend 15 minutes. The newest member of the measly crew is Lemon Trashy. What should his position on the crew be?
All right, so Lemons are working with citrus, we're working with produce. Trashy, okay. Produce, lemon rinds, compost, okay. We have somebody who is taking, in your apartments and things like that, people put little pots on their windowsills with herbs. Lemon Patchy, I don't know exactly what kind of position you would say
Trashy.
That is. Lemon Trashy.
Yeah.
But that's what is coming together for me. He's tending to some small herbs. So in the kitchen, he's got a little thing going on. Otherwise, he's just kind of a general, crew member. But that's his little.
He's like a herbologist. Is that a word? Somebody who studies herbs? What is like a gardener? Like, what is somebody who manifests, specializes in different plants? A botanist? Is that maybe he's a botanist? Okay.
I think that sounds good.
So, Mont Blanc Nolan, welcome to the crew. Eggy, we have read the first full volume of Alabasta, and I can't wait to get into it. So, what out of this volume is top of mind for you?
Well, obviously, my prediction's coming true from last volume, folks. Okay,
Which one?
What did I say? Well, I mean, who's the number one character? Obviously, Jango here. Okay.
Wait, what was you predicted he would come back and save the day?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I told you. I said those last two cover stories, those last 2 chapters of volume 17. Full Body is not. He doesn't look angry. He just has this cold kind of neutral look to him as Jango's escaping. Jango's giving him all this, but I knew it just was not going to be that. I read the energy, and it wasn't what it seemed to be. And what happens here? That's right. Full Body. By the end of it, I mean, Jango. He's not in the best position here at the end of this volume, but he's literally cheerleading a release, or at least a commutation of this sentence for Jango, which is currently death by hanging, I believe.
Yeah, which, I mean, let's go through it chronologically a bit. So Jango, he's escaping. Meanwhile, these tulip pirates are harassing the Funky Dance Island. And Full Body, he might be a strong marine, but he's no chance for these pussy pirates with weird pussy petals on their hats and beating the shit out of him and kidnapping women. And Jango, out of nowhere, I mean, I thought this was a weak man. He's defeated by fucking Usopp. But no, he's stronger than Full Body. He shows up and saves the day, and the two of them are beating up all these Marines. And I thought it was despicable. The whole message is friendship is more powerful than logic or reasoning. Jango came back to help his new friend who he danced with, and that's more sacred than his own safety. And Full Body, after being rescued and saving the day, goes on to arrest Jango anyway, knowing full well how cruel the court system is. I mean, one of the judges is fucking chugging Jack Daniels up on the bench. He doesn't give a shit. They're just going to sentence him to death without even considering any of the context.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of a bittersweet thing because, you just really feel like it's the funk and the groove, and it really did go all the way. And then he's got the cuffs on him. He's got the shackle on him. So he's kind of playing the fair weather funker, okay? It's I'm down. I'm loving it when the time is right, but when we have that larger cannon bearing down on us, and I'm going to kind of tuck tail a little bit, which, I mean, I hate to say it, from what I've seen from Full Body so far, yeah, he's kind of got that streak in him. I was hoping, maybe the music it was really going on a right path, but at the same time, I'm still going to call that my prediction was right because at least I knew he didn't hate him. He just has a bit of he's too cowardly to really go all the way for his funky brother, but...
Well, he's standing up for him in court and petitioning the judges to not kill him. So what is your prediction? Will Jango be hanged from the gallows? Will they come up with an alternative punishment? Will Full Body get through to the judges? What's going to happen here? Is our favorite man about to be killed?
I don't think Jango is going to be hung. I think he's still got, no matter what. I mean, I'd like to think he has some abilities at his arsenal yet, as far as
why is he not hypnotizing the judge? That seems pretty obvious. It's not even a devil fruit power, supposedly. I mean, we think it is. So if they were using an anti-devil fruit net or something on him, like we saw back at Logtown, he could still use his power, hypothetically. He's just not doing anything.
I think maybe, I guess if I had to make a prediction, I think they're going to go a little eye for an eye, maybe, that they had their funky bond built up. Jango came back, saved Full Body, and then Full Body kind of went against him again just to save his own hide. So maybe Jango might utilize Full Body's current protest. Maybe he's going to try and use his abilities or use something to sort of amplify that. Possibly a little bit at Full Body's expense, but he might have that coming. And then he might just kind of break it off from there. They've kind of both gone back and forth with the favors a little bit maybe at this point. So that's something along those lines is going to be my prediction. But I just had to, at least to a degree, kind of in the same way that Full Body, he was he was redeemed to a degree, that I was accurate in my prediction. Tell it in his eyes.
And we'll see if your new predictions for future Jango events comes true, hopefully next volume. I don't remember how long these cover stories are, because they're not really in the anime, right? So I only have experienced them like 2 or 3 times each in my readings. So I actually forget a lot of the details of the cover story, and I didn't remember Jango comes back to fight the guys. I just know where he ultimately ends up. So this is it's almost like I'm reading something new every week with you. Just for the cover stories.
I gotta say, I don't have the exact number handy right here, but I believe as far as the Jango Dance Heaven goes, I think it's in the 30-something chapter, and we're still going.
So it's got to be the longest one so far. Probably.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. We'll have to do a tier list of cover stories at some point.
Yeah, I think probably about halfway through what we've read so far is when the first cover story started. I couldn't remember exactly, but yeah, it wasn't like it was a day one thing, so... as far as I remember.
Okay, so you're top of mind from the whole volume. It's not Luffy's brother Ace, who is the second in command for fucking Whitebeard. It's not Smoker showing up and all these hijinks running around the desert. It's just Jango, but that's fine.
Well, you see, because I won't say we didn't have Ace to work off with the last volume, because that's when he was made known to a degree, but not enough for me to understand. I don't remember. I think I couldn't exactly recall my prediction around Ace, what I thought about him or his character, but so continuing off of something, that I have something to work with on the last volume, which was Jango. Yes, definitely, if everything that's brought new in this volume that's top of mind is 100% Big Brother, and I ain't talking about a TV show, I'm talking about Portgas the Ace.
Unlike the live action that spoils perhaps a different relationship Luffy has, we get to find out about his actual first true family member canonically, Portgas D. Ace, who has a different name than Monkey D. Luffy, but still that D initial is in there, Eggy. I guess their parents really loved that D.
Yeah, have we covered that when we watched the Netflix special that Garp is...
Hey, no spoilers, dude. People watching this don't know that. Right? There might be one virgin reading along with us. They don't even know who Garp is.
No, he's been here, hasn't he?
I mean, he's in the cover story, but he's wearing a dog helmet on his head.
All right, well, you might have to maybe bleep this part out.
No, you're fine. Who gives a shit?
Okay. Well, in any case, yeah. So we're not gonna we'll escape away from that. I think to me, as far as any possible familiar relations, because this whole Goldie Roger thing, I mean, that's a little bit. Seems a bit fantastical at this point. Like it's really hard to nail that down.
What do you mean?
I mean, it just he's Gold Roger. He's anybody would want. Oh yeah, that's my relation. It seems like if you're a pirate, you'd want to say you've got some in with Mr. Gold Roger. So that up till now, yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I could say maybe in the future, but this is just real confirmation that the D. Yeah, it's seems to be the lineage here.
Lineage? So you think Ace and Luffy are related to Gold Roger because they both have that D?
Well, that would be kind of the myth and the legend, maybe, that they could say, oh, his name was actually Gold Roger with the D instead of Gold. But at least for
what kind of name is
now,
Gold anyway? Who names their kid Gold? Big soccer fan?
It's called the football. Okay.
So how many confirmed middle initial Ds do we have now? Is it just Gold D Roger, Monkey D Luffy, and Portgas D Ace? Is that it?
Well, allegedly Gold Roger might have been Gold D. I just don't know if we have the real.
You think Curryhop would lie to the audience?
I need, I'm a man who I gotta have some peer-reviewed sources. Okay,
you think I'm lying to you?
I'm going off. We were talking about what a virgin sees. Okay, listen, yeah. I'm figuring out that this ain't the birds and the bees. This is the birds and the D's. Okay. Okay,
so maybe his name is Gold Roger and Curryha's smoking some crack. We'll figure that out eventually, I'm sure.
Listen, I'm sure she's sharp for being 140 years old, living in a mountain off in the middle of nowhere for 100 years. But I'm just going off what we got here, and that's Big Brother Ace, and I think.
Yeah, well, and what is your reaction to this introduction? Luffy has a much cooler, stronger, older brother. He has the fire fruit, which we designated somebody last week with. So that was a fun little nod to that happening. But what are your thoughts on Ace in general and his relationship to Luffy?
Well, it's a little ahead of myself to say it here, but Luffy mentions at a point that, he's really strong. After I ate the gum fruit and he didn't have a devil fruit, he was still beating me, which I think that goes to show that this guy, he's nothing to play with.
Yeah, we thought Luffy was the king of the East Blue, but his 2-year older brother's beating his own ass.
I believe he's 3 years old, but maybe that's just the translation
right.
I read. And what's also very interesting is that he's looking for Blackbeard that was established on Drum Island. And
now we know why.
He defected from under Ace's command, his second command, to the Whitebeard pirates, which, it's kind of throwing me for a loop, because if I'm talking about what's maybe established in our consciousness, us plebeians, for what we know about pirate lore, Blackbeard is somebody who's always going to be recognized. But if you say Whitebeard, we talk about Santa Claus, maybe, I don't know. And
if you look at Ace's very nice tattoo that I think all of us should get a copy of one day, it has Whitebeard's head in the middle of this backward swastika, and you may notice it's only a mustache. Man, it's unseen if the man actually has a beard. Only mustache confirmed. If you get a tattoo of
what kind of military leader?
A swastika tattoo with the face of your military leader's nice mustache right in the middle. What am I supposed to think? And he says, I'm so proud to have this.
I mean, it is a very large tattoo. I'm sure back then, it took a lot of time this ain't no little shoulder like the Arlong pirates. Their fishman money just ain't adding up to get a big tribal. Well, I guess Nojiko kind of had a
she's all tatted out. Yeah. But unfortunately, it changes to a cross. Like, they change his tattoo. It's never mentioned that his tattoo changed. Whatever. I think it's cowardly. Like, if you're going to say, hey, this is not an evil symbol, this is some other thing, then I'm doing it for my own reasons. Stick by your guns. Don't let the publishers and censors change your shit. You probably had no choice at all, but it's unfortunate. Ace with the swastika tattoo, I think, is a necessary thing.
Well, and I know you referred to it as a backwards swastika. I believe that might be the traditional way. I think possibly the later iterations in the European culture, that might have been actually considered a flip on it. So I wonder, I mean, this is just spitballing here, but since that is a traditionally like religious symbol, from my understanding, he's Whitebeard, and it gets changed to a cross. Is Whitebeard something of like the Holy Roman Empire of the pirates or something? Has he got like a righteous streak going on? I'm not sure, but something that comes to mind.
I mean, I know people in the comments are already bitching that I called it a backwards swastika. Like we know it's a Buddhist symbol or whatever the fuck. But what does this specific one on Ace's back mean? Because I don't know. Do you know?
Well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's sort of like, I think the idea when it was used in Germany, the sort of like eternal, like, it's like a circle of life, cycle of life kind of thing. I think it's the idea. Like, I couldn't exactly describe it in the most intelligent way, but that's kind of, it's sort of like a life cycle kind of thing. Like, we're always going to be eternal. That's why it was like the 1,000-year,
right.
I think there's something to that about that. It's like the life cycle and like the death and rebirth, and it's going to keep Whitebeard's army going forever. If I had to just make a completely uneducated guess, I think it's something like that.
When I was a kid experiencing this for the first time, probably 7 or 8, when Ace tells Luffy, yeah, you're not going to be Pirate King. I'm going to make Whitebeard Pirate King. Like, and you should join Whitebeard's crew with me. Come work for us. And Luffy's like, nah, fuck that. I'm doing it. That did not sit well with me as a kid. I guess I didn't really have the mature mind to handle that somebody who is Luffy's enemy, Luffy's rival for his goal, Whitebeard, like in my mind, he should have been some mortal enemy. Like, no, how could my own brother betray me and try to make this guy Pirate King? He should be on my side. So I was upset with that. We don't really have enough detail on why he's so devoted to Whitebeard yet. Did that sit any which way with you?
Well, I was kind of thinking to myself, I mean, obviously conflict's going to be inevitable here. They've got these, they're coming at this goal for the One Piece from 2 different sides. And I don't suspect that Luffy will probably ever team up with Whitebeard. I was thinking maybe they might have some sort of bout here in I guess it was just the Alabasta, the port, in Naruhara. Was that where they were at? So I believe probably the exact
Nanohana, maybe something like that.
Nanohana, yeah. When they were there, I mean, as soon as Luffy comes in, he's looking for some food. He has no qualms about basically blowing holes through the walls of multiple businesses all at once. So collateral damage.
Yeah, he gum rockets into the building, knocking Smoker into Ace, and the 2 of them are flung through like 8 different buildings. Luffy doesn't know who he hit. He does not care that he probably just killed 2 people. Like, that's a little extreme. And in the anime, they added some filler here. Some disgusting, deplorable filler, where Luffy runs away from the ship. He's looking for food. But then they wanted to introduce the concept of dance powder to us 4 chapters early for literally no reason. I don't know why. Luffy finds a random guy's house who has this illegal dance powder that is illegal and he should not have because he's just a random civilian. And Luffy starts eating it because he thinks it's food. And the guy's like, no, that's not food. That's dance powder. When you burn it, it makes it rain. But it's outlawed worldwide, and there's no reason why I should have it other than this pointless explanation that we'll get 5 episodes later anyway. Pointless exposition. So there's that. Once again, if you are watching the anime and not reading the manga, shout out to the big titty chick from the One Piece Virgin podcast who is literally doing that. You're doing it wrong, and you should be ashamed. Thank you.
That's right.
Should we go through these chronologically now that we've covered some big ideas?
Yeah, I think that's a fair. I think this whole volume plays out very well chronologically. I think that we do have elements carrying over from previous volumes, but there's a lot of standalone here. It really stands on its own to kind of explain things between the introduction of Ace and the situation in Yuba, the Baroque works, etc. I do just want to kind of finalize my previous thought. I think it seemed like there was enough going on, enough just wildness, but it almost kind of does wrap like Logtown there, where Ace just kind of, fends off Smoker again and says, hey, all right, time to go, get out of here. But I felt like there could have been conflict there, had a little bout, kind of test each other's powers out. But I'm sure we'll get there soon enough one day.
You think Luffy and Ace are going to fight?
I feel like it has to be inevitable. I mean,
because we know that Luffy, when he tries to fight Smoker, he can't do shit about it because his power is turning into smoke. Ace turns into fire. How does Luffy even punch Ace? How would you fight a man who just bursts into flame?
Probably going to need some environmental. Maybe he could gum balloon and just give enough of like an air blast that could extinguish it, maybe. But
that would be good. Yeah. Inflate himself and then blow all the air, the extinguish. That'd be good. When Luffy gum rockets into the restaurant, he hits Smoker in the back. So I guess Smoker has to like logically decide to turn into smoke. Like it's not just an automatic reaction.
That's right. He has to hit the guard button. If you ain't hit the guard button, sneak attack.
I just learned the guard button the morning before we started One Piece Grand Battle. My whole life I never knew the guard button in that game, and I guess it's not that necessary.
I probably should have played that last night in the 7 hours I was gaming, but either way. All right. Top of the volume.
Chapter 156. I like this. They've been starving for 4 days because Luffy ate all the bait. And now they're using Karu the duck as bait to catch a sea monster. And Vivi, the first of 3 brutal assaults on Luffy. Vivi hits Luffy with the happiness punch or love punch, whatever magical reason why this super strong character can be injured by a puny woman. She hits him 3 times in this volume, so it's justified when Luffy hits Vivi at the end of it, in my opinion. If you hit me 3 times, bitch, you're getting punched back. I don't care. You better learn. But Luffy did have it coming. He was trying to kill Karu. And
what I thought was funny was that they have him over the side, tied to the rods. Vivi, comes up and tells them off, do not do this. And, they obviously didn't listen to her because we have Mr. Bon Clay ends up on the duck after he's on it. They have this big steam cloud, and he commands his crew. He said, hey, listen, just full speed ahead. We're just going to go right through it. We're going to just tough it out. But since Karu's still out, hanging out on the side of the ship, apparently somehow makes Mr. Bon Clay get caught on Karu.
The duck catches the swan. That's right. But right before they get involved with Mr. 2, there was an interesting piece of dialogue, and I like rereading the series and picking up on things that are seemingly innocuous, probably are innocuous, because, this is never referenced again. But Luffy has the line, I wonder if I'll still be alive in tens of thousands of years. Like, what a weird... How stupid could you be? You think humans can live that long? And Usopp's like, yeah, people don't live that long. But... 2 chapters ago, we have Dr. Kureha, 139 years old, and she says, hey, you want to know the secret to my youth? Nobody ever wants to know the secret. Oda gives us an SBS answer to that in this volume. Actually, the very same chapter. Literally the exact same chapter that Luffy wonders if he will live tens of thousands of years. The SBS has the answer to Dr. Kureha's question. Coincidence? I think not. SBS question. What is the secret to Dr. Kureha's youth? Oda says the secret is be happy. Dr. Kureha is probably going to be around for a long time. Now, I don't know if I buy that, but if happiness is all it takes, or whatever her real secret actually is, maybe hypothetically, let's say there's a devil fruit that gives people eternal youth. I'm not, just hypothetically, anything could happen. Is this teasing that maybe Luffy will inherit that power and live forever?
Well, I guess this is something that I don't think has ever come up in conversation before. Are devil fruits like some sort of, like in Final Fantasy, where you can like equip and unequip traits and certain like inherent abilities to a character, like from your what the hell? An ultim is not what it is. whatever that is in Final Fantasy VIII, whatever it is, on a materia, yeah. So you can like equip and unequip like materias. Could you, in theory, like flush one devil fruit for another?
I can't say. I can't say.
But I will say one thing to line up with Oda's SBS answer. See, when I was a kid, we had this fish, and it had batteries in it. It would hang on the wall.
Big Mouth Billy Bass.
Listen to a song I wrote. You might want to sing it quote for quote. Don't worry. Be happy. So if that Jamaican fish is to be believed, it lines up perfectly with everything that we're reading here. And also I do agree because stress oxidizes your cells and it will give you cancer. And it also activates cortisol, which increases visceral fat around your organs. So that's why I never think about anything in life. I just don't ever think. Because
so
less thinking equals less stress. That's right.
Yep. Ignorance is bliss, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe Luffy is such a happy-go-lucky guy. Maybe he will live for tens of thousands of years. And if I'm thinking about, like, what is the storybook ending to the overall One Piece series, would it not be, like, eternally youthful Luffy gets to continue adventuring around the entire world forever? Like, that's a pretty romantic notion of an ending of a story. But, you know, we still got 1,100 chapters to go. Anything could happen. Who knows? But that one line stuck in my mind. Let's go to Mr. 2. I want to hear you talk about Mr. 2.
So, obviously, we're all thinking the same thing. Well, he's got the clone fruit. We're all thinking about he clones himself into Nami and takes his shirt off for all the men in the crew, and they all are ogling Nami's naked body.
Yeah. but noticeably, Sanji is the only one not there. The man who would have appreciated Nami's tits the most is not there. Just like he was not there at Whiskey Peak when the Unluckies drew the sketches of the main three Straw Hats. He was not there when they were fighting Mr. 3. He was hanging out in the wax hut. So Sanji has somehow kept a low profile from these Baroque Works agents, and I have to hope that's intentional, because he's missing out on all the fun lately.
We haven't seen anything this volume, but is it possible that maybe in his time on the Barati, he ran into one of these agents or something, and maybe there's a reason why he's been kind of off to the side, and he's going to recognize one of them in the upcoming, which I imagine in the next volume, they're going to finally get down with them, with the Baroque Works top brass.
So Mr. 2, his power is if he touches you, he can now transform into you perfectly. And the fact that Sanji's the only one he cannot imitate, might be useful for their strategy here. And what do you make of their strategy to make sure they cannot be replaced by Mr. 2?
I mean, I'm not going to expect them to, like, suddenly tattoo themselves or something for a single mission. I mean, hey, you're a crew together. Maybe, get your loyalty in. Maybe get a giant swastika or something.
Why not get a code word?
On it.
Like, why don't they have just a word they could say? Like, hey, what's the code word? Because Mr. 2's not going to know that. But yeah, they just like wrap bandage tape around their arm. Seems like something I could copy.
Yeah, I feel like a taped arm. Maybe like a two-factor. You could have the taped arm and you could have a code word. Because I feel like either of those by themselves could have a leak.
And maybe they did get tattoos and they're under the bandage. We don't know. They didn't explain.
True. But either way, I will say, a little bit of a lapse of judgment, considering we basically, other than Sanji, we had, Zoro. I mean, at least he's typically a sharper thinker, to have this guy there and, to just let him, start cloning himself with your forms and taking other people's forms. It seems like something that I would probably want to scrutinize a little more while they're there. Like, hey, what's up with this?
Well, Mr. 2 is such a friendly guy because they legitimately save his life. Like, he's caught by Karu in the mist, and then he falls into the ocean. He has a devil fruit. He's as good as dead. He's an anchor. He's sinking. The Straw Hats, who don't even know him at all, they save his life, and he seems genuinely, eternally grateful, and he has this feeling of friendship pouring out of his heart. Now, did he have to slap Luffy so hard in the face to introduce his power? Probably not. Weird decision. But otherwise, I mean, Mr. 2 seemed like a pretty chill dude to them. No reason for Zoro to maybe be hostile initially until they realize he's part of Brokeworks.
Yeah, I guess, and he does have a bit of a flamboyant streak, so maybe I haven't seen the anime where he's in there, but maybe he's not coming in with such a threatening demeanor. He's kind of
very goofy,
things, even when they're going to meet up at the Spider Cafe or whatever it is.
Yeah, they're doing ballet dances and shit as they're walking.
Yeah, doing like a Congo line or whatever. Yeah.
And he's pretty strong. Dance. Like he's like going toe to toe with Mr. One, and he like kicks him through the wall. So he's strong. He's wacky. He's got a cool power. I love Mr. Two. Can't wait to play as him on Grand Battle and beat your ass.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll be probably, since I could do the next volume reading right after this episode, maybe I'll get some crocodile abilities. We'll find out.
I think we're ready for crocodile. We've seen him do at least one thing. How excited were you to learn that Crocodile runs a casino empire and that they're heading towards a casino at the end of the arc? Like this, Alabasta might be your arc.
I'm not gonna lie. As I'm reading through this volume, I think it really set in as they are making the journey through the desert to Yuba. It kind of started getting that intensity. I mean, like the whole thing with Ace, like that was all very good, but it was almost like it's just hitting you. You're like, whoa, it's like this reveal, this new information. Oh, and it's like it kind of had like a little bit of I'm a little antsy about it almost, and then like sort of the come down and the setting in of this of the atmosphere and everything, then the gravity of the situation with the rebels, because we're really at Alabasta now. So we're here, we're not on our way, and we got to contemplate. We're really here. We're going through the desert. We're losing our food. We're losing our water. There's all kinds of uncertainties, and things kind of started setting in there.
Yeah, those fucking birds that trick Luffy and steal it. Like, oh my god, they piss me off. Their like, smug smirks on their faces make me so angry.
The Wapol eyes. They got the Nizumi eyes.
Yeah, fucking evil bastards.
And then yes, when I forget, is it Vivi? She says basically to the effect of like, oh, this is like we're coming up on the casino or whatever. And of course I did have stand up and started applauding. I did just hit big on Play Fame for about a $75 profit.
Oh my god!
In the last day. So hashtag not a sponsor, but I'm really tuned in.
If you've only been gambling with the free like 20-cent bets that they give you on your phone apps, how much profit have you made from online gambling lately?
In the last week, probably like $180 maybe.
Oh my god. Everybody, if there's no risk involved, you don't lose any of your own money, it's just playing for fun and sometimes you win, why wouldn't everybody do this, Eggy?
If you look up a guy, well, you have to like, it's in only like 90% of the US is able to do it. There's like 5 states that can't. And you do have to give them like an ID to like verify whatever for like tax purposes.
I gotta do that at the normal casino.
That's true. A YouTube channel called Kamikaze Cash. He has a freeloader series. The way he does it, he signs up to all of them, and he doesn't do what I do, where I do like the free 20 cents a day. He collects it for like an entire month, so he ends up having like $50 or whatever. Or he says that he makes like $1,000, or he like rakes in like $1,000 login bonuses a month from like all the stuff that he does.
Wow!
But then you just have to, I think, gamble it one time or whatever. So I don't know how he breaks even on that, but he said that he'll end up making like 90% back, because it's like a 90% RTP or whatever they call it. Like if you, in a perfect world, if you gamble $100, you're gonna on average get like 90 back. So that's basically what he does. He just saves it all up and then gambles it at like the end of the month and then cashes out and makes like hundreds of dollars a month doing that. So
do you have any predictions on will the Straw Hats do any gambling at Rain Dinners Casino?
Well, I would sure love it if they did, but I don't know if they really, if it really ties in. Luffy, he's a happy-go-lucky guy, but I think he'd rather just have his meal, have his loot, not really put it up on a game of chance. But maybe it will find its way in there, and I would not mind if it did.
As a money-obsessed person, would Nami be pro or anti-gambling?
Well, the house always wins, so she should know better.
Yeah, she should. She's smart. Let's see where we left off. We find I guess Smoker and Tashigi are already here, and Smoker hears, oh yeah, there's some pirate who's dead in his dinner. Let's go investigate. Oh no, I guess Ace just suffers from narcolepsy, and we have this cool exchange between Ace and Smoker before Luffy interrupts. Do you have any thoughts on this whole scene at the restaurant?
I thought it was pretty funny. I guess narcolepsy, I almost felt like, after the reveal that this is Luffy's brother, which I think is at the end of the chapter, like, I'm looking for my brother. Have you seen him with the straw hat? Maybe the D family just has a running theme of gorging themselves on food when it's available. Because Luffy, when they're at Whiskey Peak, he's stuffing himself into a balloon. Maybe Ace doesn't have the gum fruit, so maybe he's just literally putting himself into a maximum food coma. We see him having 10 empty plates to the side, so maybe he's just literally gorging himself to the point of incapacitation, which, yeah, I would like to think that's not the case, since he's the second in command of Whitebeard's pirates, and that's probably not a very good position to be in, kind of compromising himself. But I'm just, I was happy to see Smoker back, because we were waiting on Buggy and Hot, what's her name? Hot
Tashigi? Kuina?
No, yeah, she took the slip.
Oh, Alvida? Was she here?
Yeah, Alvida, yeah. Well, didn't they have an inclination to start coming to the Grand Line? I guess they've kind of been MIA, Buggy and Alvida, but to see that, I guess we did have more recently, I think, in a previous volume, Smoker kind of, there's a little blurb there to update us that they were on their way. But it's good, I mean, I've been waiting to see what he's got to offer. We see him in Logtown, and he's, we get a little taste. Oh, now he's gone, and then here we go, Alabasta. We see him. He's using some of his powers,
pulling out the white snake. You can see why they called him Chaser, because he's mostly just chasing down Luffy and attacking him with smoke. And fire, I guess, is a good counter to smoke, because Ace creates some sort of firewall, literally, and the Straw Hats can get away. Luffy, in his infinite stupidity, is being chased around by Marines and starts running towards his crew that is trying to hide. And Luffy, this whole volume is just Luffy making idiotic mistake after idiotic mistake, and he's not contributing anything positive so far to the mission. He's only ruining it. Losing all their supplies to the birds. I mean, at least his stupidity got them that camel, but, it's not really his fault. Yeah,
I guess, I'm one of those guys, I'm like a rip the Band-Aid off kind of guy, so, I mean, if they're just kind of hiding out while Luffy's being chased around, I mean, he could handle his own fight, but at the same time, I mean, this is, yes, your captain, you should be stepping up to the plate. I feel like they didn't want him to. Maybe it wasn't overall beneficial, but I don't really fault him for pulling up on his crew. Hey, we got some shit. Now he's pulling up with 8 plates stuffed into his mouth and a giant balloon head as he's eating and munching at the same time. But I like that we got to see more of Smoker using some of his abilities. We get a more in-depth, I think, than we did at Logtown, but still kind of keeping us on the edge of our seats there, since Ace allowed the Straw Hats to escape Smoker's grasp, or cloud, rather.
And I really like the white snake attack, especially in the video game. It's very satisfying when you pull off that combo and the big snake comes out and grabs a guy and starts throwing him in the air and shit. Very cool. Sanji gets Vivi and Nami some very sexy dancer outfits for their non-pirate disguises, which I appreciate as a fan of illustrations.
Yeah, you said
good enough.
You're looking like dancers are common people too. I mean, nowadays especially,
walking through the desert, it's probably right that they'll get horrible sunburn in that outfit, but got to cover up. And then in the SBS, we get another answer to a sacred One Piece question. We've debated this many times and thought about the implications of what is colder, the North Pole or the South Pole. And, we're trying to figure out the philosophy of, is Shanks right? Is Buggy right? Luffy was on Syrup Village, trying to figure out which direction to go for north or south, which one's colder. We finally have the answer in the SBS. Oda says, the answer is the South Pole. The North Pole isn't a continent, it's an ice formation. I don't know why that's relevant to which one's colder, but he said it. So South Pole wins, therefore Shanks was right over Buggy.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to completely just BS and make up something that makes, probably no real sense. But I guess with the continent of Antarctica and there being that landmass there, I suppose it could hold a deeper cold because of that, versus just because obviously the ocean is going to be moving regardless, so the ocean's never going to be below freezing. So the North Pole is just,
But this is
ice.
the One Piece world. Like, why is he answering it from the perspective of Earth?
Well, there's parallels, right?
I think the One Piece world is like 2.5 times bigger than our planet and does not have a red line going through the middle. So I don't know what Oda's talking about here, but I guess Shanks is intellectually superior to Buggy. Good to know. Useful info.
I don't know if they have an Antarctica or if anybody really goes down there. I don't think too many Earth humans went down there other than that expedition like in the 1900s where a lot of people died, maybe all of them. But
don't people live on Antarctica, like scientists?
Yeah, I think they have bases down there now.
Yeah.
From recent decades.
There was a recent millionaires cruise to Antarctica, and it got fucked up and they couldn't make it. And now everybody's suing, and like some Russian guy is on a hunger strike. I was reading about this on the cruise. Like, he's sitting outside of the buffet doing a hunger strike, asking the other guests to do it with him because they won't give a full refund for the Antarctica cruise. So he's just starving to death on a boat for no reason.
I'd be doing the opposite of him. I'm like, all right, I'm not getting my money back. Then let's double down.
It's time to eat up, motherfucker. Yeah.
Keep that slop coming. I'm feeling like Ace and Luffy over here. Keep them blades coming. But yeah, we should go to Antarctica sometime, Sometime in the next 10 years, I'm going to try to get down there so I can really have an appreciation for this single SBS comment and this single argument between Buggy and Shanks.
Yeah, I've only been to South America, North America, and if I had to choose, of the other 5 continents, which one to visit next, Antarctica's above Australia.
There you go.
Like that place sounds like hell. So, yeah, I'll go to Antarctica with you.
I think Antarctica is basically just Australia with snow. It sounds like most of Australia's uninhabitable desert full of giant poisonous snakes and spiders and kangaroos that have really muscular legs that will kill you instantly. So
Antarctica is Drum Island, and in Australia is Alabasta.
Yeah, as I sit here and I just cranked my thermostat up because like the 10-degree temperature outside was uncomfortably cold as I'm walking around on my floors with bare feet. So time to go to Antarctica.
Yeah, I think the wind is the issue. I can handle -20 if it's not windy. The wind is gonna kill you. That'll pierce through your jacket for sure. Karu is sent on his own special mission. Run across the desert, go straight to the king with this information about what's going on. Are you gonna miss Karu? Are you sad he's not on this great expedition?
I was kind of like, I guess the first thing that came to mind to me is he gets equipped with this canteen that he's guzzling super fast. When Vivi says, hey, you're supposed to save the water, there's literally an anger mark like coming from the ship like hundreds of feet away to indicate how mad she is that he's guzzling all the water instantly. But I think I just keep going back to Whiskey Peak, how, we're seeing the continuous development that Karu has shown, the absolute commitment to the crew, and just how S tier Karu is really showing themselves to be. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but I guess it'd be Kara if it was a
Yeah, I think
girl.
Karu's a man. Not that it really matters with the duck, but I guess he has a corkscrew penis technically. And this volume, I imagine we are both big fans of the fantastical creatures of the One Piece world, and this volume is chock full of them. Speaking of things being sent across the desert, the little sand lizards that like walk on their like a human, they're sent out by Crocodile to go on a mission. There's like the big tortoise that's taking the Brokeworks agents to
Bunchy.
Yeah. So a bunch of great animals. There's the giant sand salamander monster that the monster trio of Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy have a triple attack against and fuck them up. That was pretty good.
Also, like, not particularly relevant to that animal's meat, which they begin to eat after they lost their supplies. But Luffy decides to take it with some psychedelic cactus and gets high as fuck.
Yeah, back to my point that Luffy is nothing but like a hindrance to everything in this volume. Like, even when he's helping the old man dig the water well, he's just throwing sand into his hole. Just complete lunatic. So hopefully he'll redeem himself and find a usefulness coming up, because so far he's been dragging him down.
Well, that reminds me of speaking of the sea animals, also the sea cat that they observe before they reach Alabasta. Absolutely, quote, kawaii, you might say.
Now, when Luffy was angry he could not eat the cat, did any Donald Trump remix songs come to mind?
I guess they did, but I'm not going to lie.
10 feet higher, that one, because the cat is so tall.
That's probably what it was, yeah. But just another instance, yeah, Luffy's kind of, he's kind of stepping on toes there, too. He's trying to eat the cute giant sea cat.
He's eating dance powder. It's no good. Let's talk about the whole dance powder plot, because we hear about the Civil War, for so many arcs in a row now. Oh, we got to stop the rebels, but we don't really have the context. Like, these are just buzzwords so far. But now we know the truth, is that there's a horrible drought in Alabasta for many years, but it kept raining above the king's palace because there's a special thing called dance powder that steals the moisture from all around, so it rains in this one spot. And people aren't stupid, There's a big delivery, and the delivery men are like, this is going to the king's palace. This is a delivery for the king. And then, oh no, our cart broke and the illegal dance powder for the king spilled everywhere. Let's just run away. Like, very clearly some bad Baroque Works actors here, but the people fall for it. They're not dumb. It's got to be raining there for some reason. The kings and the elites and the CEOs, I say we shoot them in the head. And then we go to McDonald's afterwards. That's what I say.
That's right. The rainy casino. I mean, basically, I'm sure they got a nice buffet there with plenty of hash browns or whatever you might eat while you're getting rested.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is interesting. Dance powder. It's just, when I think of dance powder, I'm thinking what Jango's snorting before he hits the stage to win number one. You know what I'm saying?
The idea is probably like they would do special dances to make it rain, for like the rain god comes. Stupid tribes from back in the day, and probably still some to this day believe in that hocus pocus shit. But this is scientific. It's dance powder, not whatever the fuck.
This is possibly made by some sort of Mr. Gates to control the weather and form hurricanes. Maybe maybe just was Oda a little ahead of the curve here. The king keeps using dance powder to summon hurricanes in the southeast of Alabasta to keep the people from voting, so he maintains power.
Control of the weather has been very useful in One Piece so far. So I think weather control machines in the real world might have inspired Oda. Who could say? Maybe Bill Gates is sitting on the empty throne. Who knows? He's control of the whole world. Anything else about this dance powder scheme?
Yeah, I want to say this much because coming into this with the whole drought, I was pairing it mentally to Crocodile's powers. We see that he has this power where he can just seemingly like bring sand and like dry you out. He does it to Mr. 3 towards the end of the volume here. He kind of dehydrates him into a semi-mummy state. He's still there until the treacherous banana dial. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, literally, that's one of the most terrifying
banana gator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big banana boy gator coming for him.
Just imagine you're looking like beef jerky, like, I promise I'll get him next time. All of a sudden, like, one toenail, one single claw from the banana gator is as big as your entire body. Absolutely horrifying.
And this aquarium is confusing to me. Where did all this water come from? Because they're in like his fancy dining room. He falls through the trap door, and then like all around them and under them is a giant aquarium, but he's in like a little spot that has no water in it, and the banana gators have to crawl up a ramp out of the water to access it.
Yeah,
Like
it
if he's
seems like an
killing him
awfully
anyway,
bizarre
why? Like
design.
why not just drop him into the water and then he gets eaten? Why does he have to land on dry land?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that this exists as like some sort of reservoir to make sure that the elites are getting all the water they need. But yeah, this whole like aquarium tank being accessible through a trap door, like in the
And he
floor.
just
Like,
so happens to be standing on the trapdoor. Like this is Mr. Burns level shit, and even Mr. Burns is sometimes has Homer standing on the wrong spot. So, but is this the end of Mr. 3? Do we think he's about to be eaten like beef jerky and never seen again?
yeah, I'm gonna take the yes on that. He has made it through up to this point. Presumably, all of his contemporaries are on the path to defeat, and maybe he could like somehow have some special sweet talking. His wax powers. Maybe he makes like a giant banana gator-esque like sculpture or something down there for Banana Gator to admire. Yeah, there could be something like that, but I'm gonna go Occam's razor here and just say, yeah, we've lost some Baroque Works agents already. I don't know if he's really all that to need to keep him around.
He has good ingenuity with his powers. Like he was following them without them knowing because he made a little wax thing to hitch onto the back of their transport. And Crocodile even says to him, Mr. 3, he ranked them in terms of how powerful they are. The lower the number, the more strong, evidently. But he says, Mr. 3, physically you are weaker than Mr. 4. It's just because of your powers and your ingenuity with them that I give you a higher rank. So I think that's interesting from Crocodile. He doesn't just value raw strength. He sees people as like a whole and considers all their different attributes. And it'll be interesting to see if Mr. 3, even dehydrated, has any wax left in him to fight off a giant banana gator.
Yeah, I will say, Crocodile, it's very intelligent for him to look at things that way, because we just came back from Wapol. Like somebody like Wapol, he's very hard-headed, no pun intended. It's all about, those who are the most obedient to me will be rewarded, and any crossing me is death. Not to say that Crocodile would tolerate any kind of treason or failure, because it does not appear to tolerate any of that. But the way that he's explaining it, he seems to be coming at it a little bit more fully, like he's really kind of looking at the full cohesion of his group instead of just, rewarding the sycophants. So I think it's intelligent for his plot that he has going on.
Hey, I'm getting a phone call from Mexico City. Should I answer it on the show? Hello.
Probably.
Hello?
Hello, this is John from Occidental Vacations. Who I have the pleasure of speaking with today, sir?
Yeah, this is Eggy.
Oh, perfect, mister. Oh, this is John. This call is because you have been selected to receive a complimentary bonus cruise relay indication in regards to...
Wait, it's a cruise? Is this a cruise to Antarctica? Because I'm going on hunger strike.
Excuse me, sir?
Wrong number. I think you have the wrong number.
I will vote.
I will vote. Okay, well, I'm glad.
Crocodile.
It's the only call I've gotten that my phone did not correctly identify as spam in about a year, so I don't know how they got through. I guess Mexico City does it different down there.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, Ace gives Luffy a blank piece of paper and says, like, this will get us back together one day, something like that, and Nami sews it into Luffy's hat. Eggy, what in the fuck is this? What? A blank piece of paper? What the hell are you talking about, Ace?
I wish I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Seems like some nonsense. Will the sewn piece of paper in Luffy's hat have any relevance in the next 400 chapters? Good question.
Maybe
is he planting seeds this early?
Maybe he imbued it. I don't know what kind of imbuing a fire fruit user could do to like a piece of paper. Is it like we harken back on, or I mentioned something when we were at Whiskey Peak, and Igaripa, whatever, however you pronounce his name, he gets on the ship with the decoys with the special symbols on them, and that these symbols, because they have this certain marking on them, they have like kind of a disguise power or whatever. It's some sort of Japanese symbol magic that I'm aware of, but I don't think I really understand. I've seen it in other medias. I mentioned it back then too. So maybe this has like some sort of a symbol on it that maybe if
they said it was blank.
Maybe you wrote it with lemon juice, invisible ink. Or is invisible ink how you find the lemon juice? I haven't done that since I was like 4 years old, but that's about the best I could say, is that there's some sort of imbuing to it, or it's just sentimental, but one of those two would be
I
my
like
guess.
that Oda is not afraid to alienate the audience with like insane shit that it's like, wait, what? Why is this happening? What? Oh, don't worry about it for 300 chapters. Okay, I guess I'll forget about it until then.
Right.
It's weird little things. And also another change in the anime, when they're walking to Yuba initially, right? This is supposed to be some oasis, but it's been destroyed by the drought. Ace travels through the desert with them. I guess it felt like Ace only being in the manga for 2 chapters was not enough Ace. They said, let's throw him in for like 10 episodes and he'll just travel with them. And then when they get to Yuba, he just like, I guess, fucks off. Very strange.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he kind of takes off just into the distance from Nanohana as well, but I guess I haven't seen it, so I don't know if he has any additional dialogue. I would imagine it's just very simplistic.
It's literally filler. Like, by definition, it's filler.
We're in the desert, aren't we, Luffy?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
You think the sun is hot? Feel these flames. But yeah, so they give us slightly more Ace. I mean, I think Ace has a very cool design, and I like his attitude and his personality, so it's nice to get more of him. But, you know, that's what the manga's for. We'll get more Ace in the future, surely.
I can't wait because, you know, like I said, with the reveal is there. Who knows? Maybe Luffy's got like 10 siblings. Maybe there's like the 7 Luffy Lords of the Sea. You know, maybe the 7 Ds. Throw some Ds on that sea.
Okay, here's something important, Iggy. Do you remember in One Piece Grand Battle when you summon your support character, who was Luffy's support character?
Well, I want to say Dugong, but Dugong's a Pokemon. It was something like that, though.
Kung Fu Jugon.
Jugong, okay. So he's from Israel instead, okay.
These little otter, what were they? These little animals that they value physical combat, and if you defeat them, they will worship you and obey you as a god. So that's why, out of all the characters in One Piece so far, they're making this game, they say, who would support Luffy? I guess it's this animal that they met in one chapter that Luffy earned the respect of by punching it. Like, fucking strange choice. Why is that a supporting character? Like, Ace has been introduced.
That is so true, to be honest.
Ace literally supports Luffy against Smoker 2 chapters earlier. Why wouldn't they put him in the game?
I mean, I think they've had, 3 or 4 grand battles at this point, but I mean, this is like your great release. You can't really be banking on, we gotta save him for next time, whatever. Like, why not just continue to have? I'm sure there's gonna be repeats. But I think it's funny because, as we've been talking about, Luffy's kind of made some silly decisions and some poor decisions here in this volume. Chopper has to kind of, talk the Jugons out of following this. We can't. How can we show up in town with all these animals? It would look crazy. So they give them some of their supplies to make them go away, some of their food, and then they end up showing up to Yuba, and the town is in basically a total destruction state. They probably would have been better having out these Jugons that could have been sitting and digging down into the dirt and into the sand and getting some water source. So really, Luffy, as we've been saying, he's been making the wrong choices. This almost would have been the correct way if they hadn't bargained and bartered to get them off their back. They could have maybe taken them along. Who knows? Maybe they would have been more trouble than they're worth. I'm not going to say that they wouldn't be, but
if I recall, did they leave the ship with the Jugong? Maybe the whole point is now they're guarding the ship for them now that they're loyal to Luffy. Maybe that was what the point of that was, because they are just leaving their ship.
That's true. I don't know. I might not have fully grasp that in the reading.
Yeah, I'm barely recalling if that's it. Cause I'm like, what was the point of the Dugong? Like, I would like to imagine like the final arc of One Piece. Luffy is fighting the final bad guy, whoever it's gonna end up being. He's on his last leg, and then like all the Dugong come in to save him. Like that'd be fucking hilarious. I'd love that, but I can't remember if they do anything else in the story.
Like resurrected Gold Roger spirits, like god form that's as big as like it's made out of like multiple fallen ships of the sea. Then Luffy like starts like ballooning up into like this giant like.
You think the final boss is Gold Roger's spirit?
And then a bunch of Jugons like start swarming around him, like and making like Jugon armor, and it like charges up his power. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Why would the spirit of Gold Roger be the final boss of One Piece?
Davy Jones' locker, all the it's
Luffy
like
finds the One Piece and Roger wants it back.
I've seen too many pirate-based medias where there's got to be like some sort of like undead aspect. Even Cervantes from like Soul Calibur. I don't know.
Surely Davy Jones's locker will show up at some point, right? You can't write a pirate story without Davy Jones, but we'll see.
Yeah, that we will.
So, go ahead.
Well, so they go about. I think we kind of covered. They treacherously cross the desert after they dock their ship. They start heading towards the oasis of Yuba. They get their stuff stolen by birds along the way. Luffy's eating some tweaker cactus, and they find a camel that only wants to be ridden by women.
Like a violent hallucination, and they have to like hold him down and drag him through the desert. Complete liability.
Chopper has to give him the needle just like a psych patient.
Yeah, he injected him real quick with that. And what were you leading up to?
Well, so they arrive in Yuba, and it has been devastated. Well, I think there's an active sandstorm actually ravaging it, like as they get there. But it's been devastated. There's an old man, Toto. He's out there, and
now, what'd you think of Toto's physical change? How often, other than Alvida, do we ever see a fat character become treacherously skinny? What a sad state of affairs for Toto.
Yeah, I think this might be the first instance that we've seen of somebody being so aged and malnourished as a result of what they've been going through. Because, I mean, like, even in Arlong Park, the captain of the village, who, I apologize, his name is not immediately at the tip of my tongue, but he has the scars. Genzo. He has the scars when we see him, and he's got the flashback where he gets attacked and everything like that. But there's just not that's just kind of, he looks the same but with scars. So this is, I think, the most
very dramatic physical change. Yeah. Do you want to talk about this whole the Vivi backstory and Toto and Koza and all that, and what you got out of that?
Yeah. So we kind of. The only time we've really had Vivi's talking about her younger years is when she got struck by Wapol and everything that was going on with that little hiccup. But she's a very boisterous child. She's very
she was intelligent enough to be diplomatic at the UN meeting, but here she's like picking fights with her fellow children. So I wonder if this is before or after. I don't know if we know.
Yeah, I guess. Hard to say. I guess I don't know if we have the wherewithal to really say now, but like King Cobra says, he says, this is just a fight between children.
That's what up, dude.
To be honest, I don't care if my children, I don't go attacking my villagers' children, to be honest. They're just jealous of my princess, to be honest.
Listen, I don't want to do this king shit today. I'm just going to spy on my daughter, play with her friends. It is what it is, Tubes. Puff ran away. My giant sand lizard is gone. I like a child Vivi had a child Karu with her, like little baby duck Karu. I very much appreciated that. They've been, a great pair and friends Vivi's whole life. So, it really clarifies the long connection between those two.
Indeed. And speaking of a long connection, so Mr. Toto, he had this boy, Koza, who he got into a little scuffle with those kids, but sort of almost like a Zoro and Kuina type of thing. Like almost, we've had our combat and we kind of stand tall afterwards, and now they respect each other more as a result. And they have the Sand Clan that Vivi is basically brought to be second in command of.
And the whole reason why Toto and Koza showed up in the first place is, asking the king for this and that. And the king, makes a personal sacrifice. Like, okay, we'll just get paid less so that we can help these people. And that's how Toto has, even after all these years and all the surmounting evidence against the king, Toto remains faithful that he's a good man and that he would not be doing all this despite what he has seen with his own eyes. So that's a great example of what true faith looks like, when a character is denying the evidence around them and they're ultimately correct.
That's true, and it puts his unrelenting support for the king really. I'm glad it seems laid on a little thick, like in kind of the dialogue and his attitude, but it really sets the stage for the divide that comes between him and his son, because his son is not willing to just be a plan truster. Shout out to Q. He's not just willing to be a plan truster. He wants tangible results, and he's not satisfied by what he's been hearing. And not to get a little too ahead of myself here, but so back to them in their young age here. Vivi, obviously she's still known as the princess. There's some very bad men who they say, hey, we just kidnapped this child for ransom, easy payday. But Koza, he's not willing to let it go down like that. He gets slashed in the eye, going toe-to-toe combat with an armed bandit, fully grown man with a sword. He's just a young guy with like a club, but he's able to keep Vivi safe. And then King Cobra and Igaripa, they're hiding out behind like branches. They're just like scurrying around like some kind of Scooby-Doo cartoon, like behind a branch.
He's got like the bandit handkerchief like around his face, like to just like a very half-hearted disguise. I like all that stupid shit. And they fight off, and it's a true friendship. Bond is formed when he's sacrificing his life to help Vivi. How far they've come. And then
he tells King Cobra, he says, the title of the chapter is as much. He says, I love my country. Now, he doesn't say that I love my king necessarily. It's about the people.
That's right.
That's who he's representing. And OMG, how does it turn out? We see a scarred-eyed man. Well, his eyes actually seem healthy, so that's good. I thought he might get blinded and have like an eye patch. But a man with a slash scar in that same place. Grown man, Koza, leader of the rebellion against the kingdom of Alabasta.
And I wonder, like, what level of dramatic reveal this is supposed to be, because in my mind this almost deflates the situation and the tension a little bit. Like, oh, Vivi's like close personal friends with the leader of the rebels. I can see how a conversation might settle this issue. Like, suddenly I'm not that worried about the Civil War. Like, if there was no connection at all to the leader, wouldn't that be a lot more difficult to convince them to stop than if it's her literal friend?
Yeah, I think, it's sort of that thing where there's a thin line between love and hate. It could be, he could have been, who knows how long he's been stewing here. He's been dealing with some things. I think overall it's going to be beneficial because they're going to have some common ground, at least to get a conversation going. But it could be almost like, oh, you could have been here with, you weren't here when we needed you and you didn't do this. So like, I had this faith and I had this support for you and we were close and this is what it came to be. So now I'm not willing. I'm going to take it all the way one way or the other. You're going to have to defeat me, or, I just can't, listen to anything you have to say. I'm locked in. I'm set in my ways. But I think at least for the and it'll probably play out the way you think, the way that you mentioned, I should say, because I'm sure you are familiar with how it goes.
I'm trying to not speak from a position of I know what happens, and more of like the thoughts I had as an initial reader, which is hard to know for sure when I was 8 years old. But it's just like, she's friends with the rebel leader. Like, okay, I see how this is probably going to play out. it could, tension seems a little bit deflated, but we'll see. They already, at the end of this volume, they changed their plan. They're not even going for the rebels anymore. Luffy says, fuck this shit, I quit. I just want to go fight Crocodile. Vivi, stop putting this all on your shoulders. Let us do some other shit instead. And start punching each other a little bit, which I enjoyed. One other small detail, Toto does end up getting like a small barrel of water from the hole Luffy dug and gives it to Luffy, so at least he has a special little water supply. Hopefully he does not waste it like he did all the other water.
That's right. And I will say that some of my more like overly complex interpretations of things almost never pan out. It always seems to just be what makes the most sense.
So, a bit of an Occam's razor in One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think we've covered everything from this volume now, more or less chronologically. Do you have any other thoughts percolating right now?
I don't really think so, because basically these last two chapters after the backstory between Vivi and Koza, it's basically just sort of the negotiations between Baroque works. I like the little, I think it's at the top of 165, they have like sort of a little panel of some like little avatars, profiles, whatever you want to say, of the Baroque works people. So I think that was a little cool thing, because I believe we didn't really get a full introduction to Mr. One, for instance, until going into that chapter. And it's funny how the grand reveal that Crocodile is Mr. Zero, and they're like, "What? We're working for a pirate? What the? You're a government lapdog on that?" And so there's definitely observable tension. Then we have the Mr. Three pops back in. He's a failure. He gets dehydrated and thrown to the Banana Gator. So
in that scene when Crocodile's revealing everything, and he explains his true plan for Operation Utopia, but we don't really get it. We just get their reaction to the plan. And Mr. Two says, such a thing actually exists in this kingdom, and we're going to take it away, kingdom and all? Now, what the fuck could this be about? Such a thing actually exists in this kingdom. So, What are we to make of this? Some sort of weird object is in Alabasta, and I guess Crocodile wants to steal it.
Well, it's something that's going to make him eternally powerful and be able to, rule this kingdom in the way that he wishes, and everything else will be wiped away. Yeah, it's a good question, I guess.
Because he wants to create a utopia and seemingly be the new ruler of Alabasta, but Mr. Two says, we're going to take it away, kingdom and all. Like, they're taking this thing away from the kingdom? I thought you were going to rule over the utopia. You guys are leaving? I guess we'll find out what the plan is if it succeeds.
Yeah, I guess the way that I kind of interpreted it is that they're just it's like a total from the ground up, like where everything that this kingdom is known is going down, and because to be utopia, it's got to be just to his perfect specifications and his vision, I would imagine. So just kind of like a total rebuild from the top, or from the bottom to the top. Excuse me.
Do you have any final predictions for the next volume, or maybe anything else in One Piece? Like, will Ace find Blackbeard? Will Luffy fight Whitebeard? So many things introduced here. Will the blank piece of paper have a mysterious symbol appear on it one day? Who knows?
Well, I think Ace and Blackbeard, that could almost be like a cover story, maybe, and that could be like the next thing coming up after Jango.
An Ace cover story. Prediction of the week, folks. Could it be?
I just think it would be a good, because otherwise they're going to probably link back up. If Ace is just kind of going after Blackbeard on his own, Blackbeard was underneath him to begin with. I don't know.
Do you remember what Blackbeard's crime was that Ace is so pissed and dedicating his life now to chasing him down?
I forgot, to be honest.
He killed one of his shipmates. So like one of Ace's crew members fucking killed by Blackbeard, and he fucks off. Yeah, I'd probably chase him down too. You can't do that. It'd be like, what if Zoro killed Sanji and fucked off? Like, surely Luffy would hunt him down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I would think you would, yeah. So I guess it depends. That is kind of a weighty situation with that there, but maybe at least him looking for him, maybe that could be like a cover story, but I just don't know.
Good prediction.
He's still underneath him, so I'd still think that he has enough power that he doesn't need to have necessarily a whole couple chapters of Ace and Luffy teaming up, unless he got a devil fruit or something. But anyways, what else? I'm gonna presume most immediately here we're gonna have probably, I'd like to say that we're going to have combat between some Baroque works, high-ranking Baroque works, and the Straw Hats in this next volume.
Yeah, if they're all meeting, I assume, at this casino, like the Baroque works agents, and now we're all heading towards the casino, maybe it's a big casino brawl, and all the big fights happen on slot machines and shit.
We know it would be epic is if they did a card battle or something, all right, this is for the Kingdom of Alabasta.
Instead of fighting, they're playing poker. That'd be good.
It would be some Kino to me, but probably doesn't make all the most sense since they can just fight each other. That's kind of their thing. But I don't think we're going to get still all of the combat versus Crocodile and everything finishing. I'm going to predict maybe that it's going to be either right on the beginning of fighting Crocodile at the end of the coming volume, or it's still in the midst of the fight. Maybe there's a twist. Oh, now it's time for this real power, or you don't know I did this. And then that'd be how we'd lead into volume 20, and then moving forward from, I presume, the complete defeat of the Baroque Works leadership. Maybe there's some Chopper can reverse engineer the dance powder and make it bring some rains back to. I mean, I'm sure if they just stop using it in general, that it's gonna start getting the climate back correctly. But maybe you can kind of expedite it somehow by reverse engineering it. Start getting things right. Koza says, we were misled by these Baroque Works agents that wanted to take over everything, and I've decided to make peace, and then me and Vivi, we're going to stay here in Alabasta, and we're going to find a great future, and something like that is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to see in the next 1.5 volumes.
So Alabasta could probably mostly be wrapped up by the end of volume 20, maybe have 3 full volumes of it.
I think so. That's just where I'm sitting at right now. I think that there's, it's been a little unpredictable, so far as we've got here, and we found Ace and the backstory of the leader of the rebels, the Baroque Works agents identifying each other for the first time, these high rankers. So there's some unpredictable elements. I think there's things that could pop up yet and extend it further, but just based on my current predictions, that's what I'm really settled in on right now.
I enjoy the climates and the environments. Like last arc, it was, can we survive the worst snowy avalanche blizzard environment? Now it's the hottest desert environment. So the silly pirate cartoon is less piratey than usual. We're getting lots of classic adventuring, and it's more of an Indiana Jones adventure than a Luffy pirate adventure so far. So yeah, I like that. Almost like the genre of what we're enjoying has kind of switched up a little bit with the new arc. So I'm looking forward to where Alabasta takes us next. Hopefully we'll get some rain dinners and hit a jackpot or two. Eggy, do you have anything you want to plug?
Well, I'm just going to say that rumble.com/c/Eggy White, closing in on 1,000 followers there. Should be getting verified on there pretty soon. We were closing in last night. Some people were showing it on some Discord or something somewhere. But they came in and started arguing with my chat, so then I banned a couple of them for being obnoxious. And so it was an up and down. And more GTA 4 fast cars. We got the Red Dead Redemption remaster. Been playing through that. Never played it before, so that's fun.
Is there a hack for Red Dead Redemption fast horses?
I've asked my chat's brought it up a couple times, and I keep what do you guys got to say about it? And nobody seems to really have anything conclusive. I haven't looked into it myself too much, just because I'm still, I'm giving it's a good story. It's really an enjoyable game, just the base of it, and I'm playing old 1950s country music while I'm playing it and setting up cinematic shots.
Johnny Rebel.
Well, that was we weren't gonna go into that, but no,
we're not.
Generally not.
I feel like you're the one guy I can go into Johnny Rebel about with. Who else am I supposed to talk about Johnny Rebel with, Iggy?
That only comes out. There's a certain song. It's actually a World of Warcraft song about Orgrimmar. It's usually once my eyes start crossing from some delicious peak of whiskey. I say it's time to turn on that classic by Mr. Bathrobe Dwayne, I believe is his name. So if you know, you know. I believe the comments on the video from like 2 years ago are like, Eggy sent me here.
That's right.
Classic when you get too drunk song and you don't care about terms of service anymore.
And go check out the comments for Brad Dassey's I'm Coming Home if you want to see 7-year-old comments that say Mumkey sent me here. That's it for this week, folks. We'll see you next week for Volume 19 of One Piece. And peace, people.